You don't need a mansion or a Hollywood name to leave behind a story that's more than just fame.
Me to need a will, just a family, or a cat plotting world domination. Welcome to Celebrity Estate Chaos, where we prove a lot of things. Like how estate chaos isn't just for millionaires with private islands, anyone with stuff, relatives, or that one weird collection you think nobody's fighting over. And chances are, they will.
Okay, imagine this for a second. You've got your whole digital life, right? Your email, cloud storage, maybe some crypto tucked away, even that massive stash of reaction memes you've saved. But if you actually thought about who gets all that digital stuff when you log off for good?
It's one of those things that feels a bit awkward to bring up, maybe a bit distant. But honestly, in the world we live in now, it's becoming super critical, a really key part of planning.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there's this whole digital universe you leave behind. And that's exactly what we're digging into today, this complex, often kind of ignored area of digital inheritance. And we're able to do this deep dive thanks to the fantastic sources you sent over. They've got some surprising stats and really practical advice.
Mm-hmm. And what jumps out straight away from that material is just how big this issue is. I mean, the average person, they're juggling over 100 online accounts.
100?
Oh.
Wow. That actually sounds about right when you stop and think about it, doesn't it?
It does.
And the scary part, reading through these sources, is that even with all those accounts, something like 68% of people haven't put anything about their digital assets in their will.
68%. That's huge.
Yeah, that's coming from surveys and reports over the last couple of years.
And if you drill down, one source found 90%, 90, have zero plan for things like social media or email. I mean, think about how much of our lives, our memories, our connections are tied up there.
What happens then if there's no plan? It must create chaos for the people left behind.
Exactly. And it's not just about sentimental photos. Another source pointed out that 59% of millennials actually own digital property that has real financial value.
Like crypto or NFTs, maybe online businesses?
Precisely, things like that. But here's the kicker. Only 4% of them have any kind of digital estate plan in place.
4%. That seems like a huge disconnect, a massive risk, really.
It is, and we're already seeing the fallout. The sources share some stories that, well, they really hit home. Well, there's a story of a man in Florida. He passed away, left behind something like $3 million in Bitcoin. Problem was, nobody had the password. Lost.
$3 million.
Yeah.
Gone.
Gone. His fiancée was left dealing with that mess. One source actually called her a crypto widow.
Wow, crypto widow. That says a lot about the burden.
It really does. Or think about Chadwick Boseman's estate. Apparently, it took over 2 years to sort everything out, and part of the delay was unclear instructions about his online stuff.
Right.
And then there's that famous story now of the German programmer, locked out of $220 million in Bitcoin because he forgot his password.
Oh, I remember hearing about that. The regret must be immense.
Crippling is how one source put it, along with mild nausea. But look, these aren't just, sob stories about the rich.
No, that's a really important point. This affects everyone.
Right. Your average person's digital life, it holds real value now. Financial value, yes, but also huge personal value. All those photos, emails, messages, it's your history. And without a plan, it could all just vanish.
Okay, so let's get specific then. When we talk about digital inheritance, what are we actually defining here?
So digital inheritance is basically the process. It's about planning for and managing everything you own online, your accounts, your data, your digital property after you pass away. It covers who gets access, who's in charge of it, and what actually happens to it all. Does it get deleted, passed on, maybe memorialized?
That makes sense. Planning ahead for the digital stuff.
Yeah.
And the list of what counts as a digital asset.
Yeah.
It's pretty long in these sources, isn't it? Much more than just Facebook.
Oh, yeah, much more. You've got all the social media, obviously Instagram, Facebook, X, YouTube, places where we share so much.
Yeah.
But also things like email accounts, cloud storage. Think Google Drive, Dropbox, where all your documents and photos might live.
And the money side too, right?
Yeah.
Online banking, PayPal, Venmo.
Absolutely. And increasingly, cryptocurrency wallets, NFTs, digital art, that's a big one now.
Yeah.
Plus things like domain names, maybe you run an online business, subscription services, digital memberships.
Don't forget the personal files, passwords, and my precious meme archive.
Can't forget the memes. But seriously, it all adds up. One source estimated the average American has over $55,000 tied up in digital value.
55,000. Wow. That includes crypto, investments, maybe income from side hustles online?
Exactly. It's substantial, and it's often completely invisible to your family unless you've made a specific plan for it.
So that really underlines why planning is so vital, not just for you, but maybe even more for the people you leave behind.
Absolutely.
What's the main problem they run into if you haven't planned?
Well, the absolute core issue is just ignorance. They simply won't know what digital assets you had. Where are they? How do you even begin to access them? It's like a treasure hunt without a map.
And it's not like Google or Facebook will just hand over the keys, I imagine.
Not a chance. Their terms of service are built around protecting your privacy even after death. Getting access can be a nightmare. We're talking potentially months of emails, sending death certificates, maybe even needing court orders. Just to get into an email account or retrieve photos? Imagine dealing with that while grieving.
That sounds incredibly stressful.
Yeah,
Adding a huge administrative burden onto an already awful time.
it is. And the consequences, as the sources lay out, can be pretty dire. We mentioned lost crypto, potentially billions lost globally.
Right.
But also, your online identity could be hijacked, used for fraud. Your business files might just disappear, making it impossible to wind things down properly.
So instead of focusing on grieving, your family is battling tech support and worrying about identity theft.
Exactly. It compounds the grief with all this unnecessary stress and digital chaos. And maybe the saddest part, those irreplaceable memories, photos, videos, messages stored online, they could be locked away forever if you didn't leave any digital breadcrumbs.
Digital breadcrumbs. I like that. Okay, you've definitely painted a picture of why this is so crucial. So what can people actually do? The sources seem to offer some clear steps, right? Like a roadmap.
Yes, exactly. 4 really smart, practical steps that come straight from the material you shared. Things anyone can start doing.
Okay, step 1.
Make a digital asset inventory. This is your foundation.
Like just a list.
A detailed list.
Yeah.
Every account. Email, social, banking, crypto wallets, everything. You need the service name, your username, the email tied to it, what's in it, photos, money, whatever, any subscription details. And critically, login info or instructions for accessing crypto keys.
Okay, that sounds like a lot. How do you keep that secure? You can't just leave it lying around.
No, definitely not. The sources really push for using a secure password manager. Many have features now for emergency access for a trusted person.
Okay.
Or if you prefer something physical, a printed copy kept somewhere really secure, like a fireproof safe. And why is this so vital? Well, one report found people forget passwords about 6 times a month. You can't expect grieving relatives to guess dozens of passwords, can you? It's just not fair.
6 times a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Point taken. So, inventory first. What's step 2?
Choose a digital executor. This is the person you trust to handle all this digital stuff according to your wishes.
So, like a regular executor, but specifically for online assets.
Kind of. But they need to be someone you trust implicitly and someone who's reasonably tech savvy. You don't want someone who's scared of logging into email.
Good point. And how do you make that official?
Ideally, you name this person and outline their responsibilities within your actual legal will. That gives them the authority.
And what would they actually do?
Using your inventory, they'd access accounts. They'd handle deleting or memorializing social media, grabbing important files from the cloud, closing financial accounts, transferring ownership of things like domain names or crypto, all based on what your will says.
Okay. And the sources mentioned that hardly anyone does this yet.
Yeah, a statistic cited was only about 18% of adults over 45 have actually designated someone for this. It shows how big the gap is between the need and the reality. A lot of potential mess being left behind.
Definitely.
Okay, step 3.
Use the tools the platforms themselves provide. These legacy or inactivity tools.
I wasn't really aware these were common.
They're getting more common. Big players like Google have an inactive account manager. You set it up now to decide what happens if your account goes dormant for a while. It can notify someone or even delete your data.
Huh.
Apple has a legacy contact feature. Facebook lets you appoint someone to manage your memorialized profile or request deletion. Others like Instagram and Twitter have options, though maybe more limited. It's worth checking each platform you use.
So it's about being proactive within the apps and websites themselves.
Yep.
That makes sense. Especially with, nearly 5 billion social media users now? Imagine all those unmanaged digital ghost accounts otherwise.
Exactly. Managing that digital footprint. Okay, and step 4. This one's crucial if you're into crypto or NFTs.
Right. The tricky stuff. Don't let your crypto ghost you.
Ghost you? You mean disappear into the ether.
Precisely. Because it's decentralized, there's no company to call, no reset password button. If you lose your private keys or if the person settling your estate can't find them or figure out how to use them, those assets are just gone.
Into the blockchain abyss, as one source put it.
It's the phrase, like that Florida man's $3 million.
Yeah.
So the planning here has to be meticulous.
Oh.
Use cold storage, offline wallets for serious amounts. Keep backup seed phrases incredibly secure, maybe in multiple locations. And crucially, leave crystal clear step-by-step instructions for your trusted person on how to actually access and transfer the assets. No ambiguity.
Don't be another cautionary tale.
Please don't.
Okay, those 4 steps seem really solid. Inventory, executor, platform tools, crypto plan. But the sources also mention some like legal bits or catches people might not know.
Yeah, some important nuances where digital life meets the traditional legal world. First off, a digital will on its own, generally not legally binding yet in most places.
So just making a plan online isn't enough.
Not usually, according to these sources. You still need that formal, legally recognized will, paper signed, witnessed, maybe notarized, depending on where you are. But that legal will needs to specifically mention your digital assets. It should reference your inventory and name your digital executor, giving them the legal power to act on your digital behalf.
Got it. So the traditional will is the anchor, but it needs to explicitly pull in the digital plan.
Perfectly put. Another thing is terms of service. The thing nobody reads.
Guilty.
Well, some of them might actually state that an account, like maybe your primary email, is non-transferable upon death. Your family might need a court order to get access, even with a will.
Oh, wow. That could be a real roadblock for something essential like email.
It could. And finally, what about all those photos and videos online? Decades of memories.
Yeah, huge.
They don't automatically just belong to your family or become easily accessible unless you've specifically backed them up somewhere else and provided clear login details for the accounts where they're stored. Retrieving them could be difficult, maybe impossible.
That's actually quite sobering. Thinking of losing all those digital memories. It really hammers home why taking these steps matters so much.
It really does. It's not just about the money. It's about the memories, the history.
Okay, so let's sort of pull this all together. We've seen our digital lives are way bigger and more valuable than we might think, financially, personally, and leaving it unplanned creates real headaches, real burdens for the people we care about most. But there are clear steps based on these sources. Make that inventory. Pick a trusted, tech-savvy digital executor. Use the platform tools available now. And get your crypto plan absolutely sorted.
And when you frame it like that, it doesn't feel morbid at all, does it? It feels responsible, smart.
Yeah, less about death and more about taking care of things, protecting your legacy, sure, but mostly about making things easier for your loved ones later.
It's an act of care, really. Preventing stress during an already tough time.
It really shifts the perspective, doesn't it? From thinking about my stuff to thinking about how can I help the people I leave behind.
Exactly. And maybe just as a final thought to leave people with, so much of who we are now, our value, our memories, it's all wrapped up in this digital world. So maybe true modern estate planning isn't just about the house or the stocks anymore. Maybe it's also about being really thoughtful in curating and securing that digital footprint, ensuring it respects your wishes and serves those who remain.
That's a really powerful thought to end on. This has been incredibly illuminating. And just to remind everyone, our deep dive today drew insights from some excellent sources, like articles by the Crisis Ready Collective and various helpful books covering digital afterlife planning, estate planning, crypto security, including works by Tina Jin. Definitely worth looking into further if this has sparked your interest.
That's a wrap for today's chaos. If you learned something, laughed a little, or now feel slightly more prepared for life's curveballs, we've done our job. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel and follow us on social media. Catch us on Spotify, YouTube, and anywhere podcasts make you rethink your to-do list. Thanks for tuning in. And remember, if it's important and unexpected, we probably cover it. Stay safe, stay curious, and we'll see you next time.